My toughest challenge yet was at Sherman High School with Mr. Asa Thornhill's class. First period regular world history. The two factors that contributed most to the class needs and abilities was a lack of effort and unwillingness to speak in class. Let me give an example. If a student didn't initially understand my instructions or the worksheet, then they would resign themselves to sitting quietly and not call attention to themselves. Even in groups, students would sit together but barely talk. Students wouldn't begin work until 2 or 3 minutes after instruction. It was all very frustrating. I had to constantly monitor their progress, pulling them back to the lesson or pushing them to go further in depth. Based on prior observations, I sensed that the majority were visual learners, so some of the first strategies I used incorporated visual imagery. This worked well. Students picked up exactly what I want them to, and they more easily reached both simple and complex understandings. But I didn't want to rely on visual imagery. I wanted to experiment with other strategies to see how I can adapt to this class. So, I tried to implement strategies with higher order thinking. This included mind's eye, reading for meaning, and metaphorical expressions. The effectiveness for each one varied from great to not so good, but from these strategies I learned much from the class. I knew that I couldn't give them too much work to do. They would lose interest doing the same thing for too long, but students could engage in limited abstract thought, and students could express quality thoughts, but first need to feel comfortable to speak. Working in groups allowed students to help those that had trouble or needed extra input. A major understanding I took from this semester was when I was lesson planning, making graphic organizers, gathering images, and producing a PowerPoint. I had to place myself as the student. That meant organizing information in simple and easy to follow terms. I had to intimately know my worksheets or else my nitpicky students would just tear me apart. I learned that I need to set realistic goals and make reasonable adjustments for my students when lesson planning. Although this class was tough, I left mine to go back to teach more and more. I knew I was going to learn 100 new things and walk in the next day with some answers. I liked the challenge.